I watched Blue Lock Season 1 in 3 days, and it was peak. Now, before anyone starts ragging on Blue Lock because of Season 2 and its poor animation, this video is not talking about Season 2. I'm well aware of the bum animation of Season 2, and I've seen the memes. They are indeed funny, but I will be strictly talking about Season 1 of the series, and how I got hooked and finished the show in 3 days before my 1 PM class. I had never watched or read a sports anime or manga up until finishing Blue Lock Season 1, so I really had no expectations for what a series like Blue Lock would have to offer. Besides, it's an anime about sports, right? Kinda sounds boring. Like, why wouldn't I just go play the sport myself, or at least watch real people play it? Those are common notions that I actually didn't have. I gave the series a fair chance, and goddamn it exceeded anything I could have anticipated. Too many moments in just Season 1 alone had me so gassed. I just want to get off my ass and do the same type of shit. From Isagi's first goal, CHIGIRI's awakening, Isagi's direct shot against Nagi, his devouring of Baro to Baro awakening and devouring him back. Those are just some of the immensely peak moments from Season 1 that I can vividly recall. Furthermore, the moments are only as cool because the show has a relatively good cast of characters that work well to make these moments as hype as they are. My favorite aspect of any series I watch is always the characters, as I feel that characters are the most compelling driving force that dictates whether a show is good or not. Characters make the story, that's my philosophy, and Blue Lock does not have any characters that I actively dislike. Sure, there are throwaway characters, but I wasn't bothered by that, because we know that realistically, eventually not everyone who we're watching can make it through to the later selections. Like, honest to God, there is no way anyone thought that someone like Imamura was going any further past the first selection. Characters we're supposed to dislike, like Kuon for instance, after his betrayal and selling of Team Z, has a fucking amazing redemption moment, giving Team Z a last minute chance to win against Team V. This is when he finally realizes he's witnessing the type of football, or soccer, whichever, he's always wanted to play and be a part of is right in front of his eyes. And the tension of the match against Team V is even higher when you realize that they need a win, no less, to make it through to the next election. I personally really like Isagi as a main character. I enjoy the fact that he's kind of a bum compared to his teammates and opponents, like Bachira, CHIGIRI, Baro, or Nagi for example, but he uses his brain and vision of the field for how things are going and then should go in a match to try win and score of his own goals nonetheless. Because he is not as talented as people like Nagi, who possess superb ball control and is a so-called genius. He has to try to outsmart people like those geniuses to assert himself in the matches and show his way of playing and how he will become the world's best striker. His weapons in the show are the character's specialty or individual skill or skills that they excel at, which help them score goals. Being his brain, that starts off as just him smelling a goal, evolved into spatial awareness, makes it all the more fun watching as his opponents keep proving to be more and more difficult as the show goes on. How Isagi uses his weapon to go even further is such a treat to watch, as his wins and goals feel extra satisfying and rewarding this way than they otherwise would. I also enjoy Isagi's dynamics with all his teammates and opponents, especially Bachira. Him and Bachira mesh so well together, and their match against each other after Rin's team of the top 3 at the time took him away was cinema. How the characters bounce off each other, their in-game interactions, that final moment of Bachira's awakening, letting go of the monster, and Isagi blocking a shot because he believed in Bachira was one of the most satisfying friendship moments, and moments alone in the show. And to have the game end with Isagi still getting beat by Rin again by pure luck is yet to be shown why it is more genius than we think. And speaking of moments, there are other key highlights from Season 1 that I have to talk about. There is just no way to emphasize how fucking cool and how many cool moments there are in this show. From the very beginning in episode 1, Isagi being the first person to charge towards Blue Lock, just at the thought of there being a slim chance that this might actually be the place where his dream of becoming the world's best striker can become a reality, even if it might cost him the opportunity to represent Japan if he's eliminated. To him not kicking the ball at Igarashi when he's injured and is unable to move, and instead challenging the strongest opponent in the room, the guy who beat him in his high school match, Ryosuke Kira. And Kira's feral reaction in episode 2 to being the one who's eliminated by Isagi out of anyone, even though people call him the national treasure of Japanese football, is beyond chilling. I personally thought, in typical anime fashion, Kira was going to be set up as Isagi's rival character to overcome, but nah, the show don't give no fucks about him, and I love it. And all this in just the first couple of episodes. Some peak moments I want to talk about in season 1 for me were Usagi's first goal. Due to how he contrasts with Nico and how they are very similar in ability and playstyle, it is Usagi's change at the very end is what separates them, and was the deciding factor that gave Team Z the win and Usagi's first goal. Afterwards, when they showed the opponent's despair after losing, Usagi questioned what he's feeling, because this feeling of crushing his opponent's dream is amazing to him. That show was so well written in depicting real life feelings of winning, and especially against an actual challenge to overcome. Winning against people alike and people who dedicate themselves to the same ambition, the same dream as you, proving your skills to come out on top, achieving victory. I can't get enough of a moment like this. It's not like Usagi's a sadist, it's just the feeling of winning and how his team won through his goal overwhelmed any pity he might have had for the opposing team. I crushed the dreams of these 11 people, but this is what it means to win. Usagi internally dialogues as he walks past his anguished opponents, chilling and simultaneously excitement-inducing for what to expect further. Chigiri's awakening was a prime example of payoff in any anime or manga, with every match meaning Team Z's dreams could be shattered in mere moments. They needed everyone to lock in. But the match against Team W and the Wanima brothers, Kuon, who doesn't believe Team Z are good enough to make it that far, makes a deal with Team W. They let him score 3 goals so he can be the highest scorer on their team and go through even if the team loses, and he'll give away all their weapons and tactics and throw the match so Team W wins. These Wanima brothers have history with Chigiri already, as Chigiri was the one they had started playing around after Chigiri proved he was more fit to be played around as the striker of their high school team. Chigiri did this by using his weapon, the one he didn't want to share with Team Z when they were all discussing theirs. His weapon is his speed, the ability to outrun anyone on the field, but when he tells Usagi his weapon, he refers to it as his right leg. As in high school, when he dreamed and believed of becoming the best striker in the world, it all came crashing down when he tore his ACL in his right leg during a match. And ever since then, he's been so afraid of re-injuring it. However, he still clings onto his dream clearly, as why else would he enter BLUELOCK? Though, he tells Usagi he entered BLUELOCK to have a reason to give up on it. But when the time came and push came to shove, down 4-3 against Team W, 12 versus 10 after Kuon's betrayal, Usagi goes in a crazed state to try tie the game all by himself, because he, unlike Chigiri, doesn't want to throw it all away. He wants to be the best, and so he attempts to take matters into his own hands, even if he is not individually skilled enough to do it by himself. When the ball comes to Chigiri, Usagi shoves him off the ball in a sorry ass state, thinking Chigiri in his current mental state wouldn't do anything. He wouldn't be of any use. After this, and seeing Usagi try so hard, not only for the team, but his dream, seeing someone who won't stop believing in himself causes Chigiri to awaken. Witnessing Usagi right now reminded him of how he used to be back then, when he used to believe in himself and to become the best in the world. He stops caring about it all. If this is the last time he can run, then so be it. He wants to feel that sensation of outrunning everyone again, because that joy is everything to him in football, a joy only he can feel. And in his awakening, he scores a game-tying goal, meaning Team Z are still not eliminated from BLUELOCK. The last moment I want to talk about is Bara's awakening, after having teamed up with Usagi and Nagi in the second selection, as they chose him after beating him and Naruhaya in the 2v2. The man who calls himself the King, a talented genius who also works crazy hard to improve his skills, the leading scorer of his team in the first selection with 10 goals that saved him from elimination. With a selfish and arrogant attitude, he seems like a perfect candidate to be the world's best striker with his sort of ego. Raised at a young age for being a genius and very talented at football, he did not understand how others could be smiling or happy playing supporting roles. But regardless, he doesn't care. He only cares about winning, and winning through his goals alone, playing the role of the main actor or character. The spotlight is for him and him alone. But that spotlight was taken away from him in the match against Chigiri, Kunigami, and Ryo. Usagi takes away his spotlight, as Bara's selfish playstyle for only himself and being completely uncooperative, unwilling to pass to either teammates, results in them getting scored on numerous times early in the match. This makes Usagi give up on trying to change him by just telling him what to do and how they should play. Instead, Usagi takes action that forces Bara to change. With Baro being completely useless in this match, Usagi takes advantage of that by devouring him and doing things like using him as bait to then score his own goals. Knowing Baro is not willing to work together with neither him nor Nagi, Usagi starts taking over the match, and eventually leads to a moment where Baro, already beyond frustrated with himself in this point in the match with his performance, is getting pressed, and Usagi forces a very uncharacteristic pass from Baro that has him sweating and looking absolutely defeated. No one in that match expected Baro to pass that Isagi in some spiritual mind game type shit willed him to. And at that moment, Baro lost to Isagi. Isagi devoured Baro. This feeling of not only losing, but losing to the person who he called a loser or donkey, whichever translation, and having that person reciprocate the same energy, calling him the king, a loser or donkey, had Baro distraught. He had never experienced anything like this. So crushing on his soul, his being, his ego. Having a spotlight taken as the main actor or hero caused him to change, to awaken. Tie game, the match is 4-4. Baro has not scored a singular goal. He awakens, devouring Isagi back after Isagi did so to him. With a triple chop feint past all three opponents, he finally scores, and it's the game-winning goal, stealing the spotlight back, but as the villain, the one who will take from Isagi if Isagi is the one in the main role, in the spotlight that should rightfully be his, the king's. I don't have much else to say in this video, as I wanted to keep it relatively short. If you made it this far in my first ever video, I appreciate you a lot. Thanks for sitting through this video, and I hope it was captivating enough that you enjoyed it and stay for more of what's to come.